All right, we are live. Bracken, welcome back. Good to be here today. How was your week?
Yeah, it's been good. How about yours?
Not too shabby. A little bit cool here in Utah, which I like actually. This is a great time of year because things cool down. Like even if it's hot during the day, you can open the windows at night, keep things cool. You can keep the AC off. So it's been fun.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. We've got some comments from Grayson. Always great. He's so supportive at Wildwoods Honeybee Farms. I actually, it's gonna be crazy viewership. I'm actually joining Grayson with his live stream this coming Monday. So it's gonna.
I did a chat with Grayson. It's been a while ago. Grayson, how long has it been? He probably
I'll have
remembers
to
better than
go. I'll
me.
have to go check that one out.
Yeah, I that was back. Well, it was last year for sure, but I can't remember if it was last spring or last fall.
Well, we're gonna break some records on Monday. It's gonna be wild.
Sweet.
Hey, before we jump into stuff, tell us, like, it's a significant event for a YouTuber, Bracken. You crossed a pretty serious milestone. Tell us what the milestone is. Let's celebrate just a little bit. Talk to
I
us.
hit I hit 1,000 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Woo.
1,000 subs. Isn't that
Yep.
wild to think about? Like,
It is crazy. It's
why
crazy to
tell,
think that
tell
there's
us why not why you got into beekeeping, maybe that's a different topic, but why you decided to get into on YouTube as a beekeeper.
Oh, I don't know. I know I was looking for videos and stuff that was kind of from my local area, and I couldn't find a lot, so I was like, well, I'll just start doing videos. And I didn't think, there would be much traction, but it's gained some traction. It's getting a little bit. It's fun to engage too. I just did it just to kind of do it, give me something else to do with the bees.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed it? It's been
Yeah,
over
yeah,
a year, right?
yeah. I've been doing the YouTube thing for about a year. I Yeah, yeah, I do. I enjoy it, and I like even if I got 4 or 5 people that enjoy them, it's kind of fun. Just like even you, just watching your stuff, or I have my regulars. There's quite the regular viewers, and it's fun to see what they have to say. And I've never met them, but it feels like, you know what I mean, like I know that person or they know me. It's kind of cool.
I didn't know what your experience was, but when I beekeeping is my hobby. And when I decided to go on YouTube because I wanted to get into the beekeeping community more, it was shocking to me that anybody subscribed. Like, amazing. Like right now, you have over 1,000 people that are interested in what you have to say, Bracken. Like that's just crazy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
congratulations.
bet there's a few. Well, I don't. I know there's a few that are probably just accounts that have, you know what I mean? I don't know. They might not be like, I don't think it's necessarily 1,000 like actual beekeepers. Like, I actually think one of my nephews is one of my subscribers, and he probably doesn't watch my videos, but
Yeah, everybody's got
but
that.
it's at least there's a fair amount. I what I've noticed is the comments, on my videos are getting more and more. They might not have a lot of views, but I'll have 40 comments, conversations going back and forth, and that's fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm grateful that we would not have met had you not been on YouTube, and it's cool to connect with the community.
Yeah,
Um,
I would
we're
meet a
gonna
lot of people.
we'll get into some fun conversations here tonight, but Jack put on there. We get in the lovely weather down there. So Bracken and I are in Utah, and we've had a couple days of rain, at least here in Orem. You probably had more where you are up north, Bracken, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of rain.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we've had quite a bit, and it's been cold. Like it's been
Yeah,
cold.
it has been
They're not
chilly. So
flying much.
my rain gauge says 0.19 of an inch. So not even a quarter of an inch for the last 20 hours. Let's see, last 48 hours we've got about a half an inch, 0.48.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's half an inch in 72 hours.
Yeah. And the evenings have been in the low 40s here.
Yeah.
So it's and the highs have not been super high. So we're getting some of that weather. I love it actually. Maybe the bees don't love it, but I like the nice cool weather before it
It
gets
is
super hot.
nice.
Uh, let's be frank. I think you're exactly right. The beekeepers on YouTube are vast in their background. So you get some hillbillies like me and Bracken. You got city folk. You got commercial beekeepers all around the world. That's been one of the most fun things for me is connecting with these folks from New Zealand and Australia and all those weirdos from Alabama. But it's just been so fun. Just kidding. Roll Tide.
We're getting some people on here. Hey Jack, hey Grayson, Charlie, Gigi's honeybees.
Yeah, welcome. Hey, listen,
Mike.
It's probably a good time to talk about the expectations for the live stream, and this is the same every week. Be engaged in the chat, ask questions, chat a lot. Like if you have questions that you want to talk about or comments, throw them in there. We'll pull them up as we can. We'll chat about them. If we can't, we can get to it next week. And as always, we've got a giveaway. I've got some gloves today. Now, these are Apis Tactical gloves. Apis Tactical is putting out some really good stuff, and they've got great gloves. You see a lot of people in videos that are wearing their stuff. I've got different sizes of gloves, small, large. I think I've got some mediums, maybe have some XL. So at the end, we'll go about an hour. At the end of the chat today, we'll do a wheel of names. We'll spin it. Redfish on there won last week.
Yeah.
Redfish, I sent him a hat. That's in the mail. I don't know if I don't see Redfish on there, but Grayson won. That was not rigged, folks. Grayson won. He got a Hive tool, I think. We sent that to him. So gloves today. I see Smith Chronicles. He's out in Baltimore. Win him some gloves out in Baltimore.
Glade joined us there. Utah B man. He jumped on. Hey Glade.
Glade's the one that got me onto Apis Tactical because he's got a pair of Apis Tactical gloves. I actually commented on one of his videos and I said, hey, tell me about those gloves. He is the guy. And so I reached out to Jeff at Apis, bought some of his stuff, his gloves, and he sent us some stuff for the giveaway. So, nice. So Bracken and I are big time. We are sponsored by Apis Tactical.
No. Oh, wait, let's see. He is.
Pretty good stuff. They just came out with the new suit, but
I want to try I need to try a pair of those gloves.
Well, put your name in the wheel. Put your name in the wheel. Like you could win. It's not rigged.
I could win.
So anybody that wants to put their name in the hat to win these at the end, #gloves. #gloves. When Bracken gets off on one of his monologues, I'll go and put your names into the wheel of names, and we'll do that. All right, Bracken. Let's. You've had a lot going on this week. Not only did you get to 1,000 subscribers, you also been busy in the bee yard. What's the story?
Yeah, I did some grafting. Let's see. I actually grafted. I can't remember what day it was. I think it was Friday. Yeah. And I got completely lucky. Like I had put 45 grafts in there and I had 43 take. I don't know. I know all 43 aren't going to finish because I watched my last video last year on my grafting and I did 45 and I had like 20 something take, and then out of those 20, like 12 got finished, so it dropped down significantly fast. But it was this time the grafts were pretty cool. I really took my time. I don't know, my buddy told me that he thought the larvae was a little bit older, and he sent me some pictures of some larvae that he's like, hey, this is a good size to look for. And after kind of looking at his pictures and mine, like maybe my picture made them look too big. Like maybe my camera was blown up a little more. I don't know, but either way they took them. Whether or not they make good queens or not, I don't know. We'll see. So Saturday, I'm going to prep my mini mating nukes. I'm going to get them out. I'm going to get go shake a whole bunch of bees into a box, nurse bees. And then Sunday, I will be taking those grafts out and putting them in those mini mating nukes. And I'll let them sit for 3 days, give them some syrup, keep them in a shed where it's kind of cool and dark. And then I'll go out and put them out after about 3 days, and hopefully they'll hatch and mate. So.
And then is your plan to sell those nukes? So you use the queens that you've grafted in your bee yard if you need them. Like then you've got bees that you can put in there. But then, like, what's your plan with the nukes?
So they're just those mini styrofoam mating nukes.
Yeah.
Really, my plan, I've got a couple colonies in mind that I want to requeen, and I've got some that I think I could probably pull a few little splits out of, 2 or 3 frame splits. I know my neighbor needs some queens. I got a buddy that wants a couple. So I'm probably going to sell some, but for the most part, I don't know yet. I don't really have, again, I'm just practicing raising queens. If I really hate to say that, but if I lose some, if they, kind of is what it is. I'm trying to get good at it, by doing it. So.
Well, 43 out of 45 seems amazing, and I'm interested in it because I haven't done it before, but maybe we talk more about that. We talk more about that later. But I'm like, with 3 hives, if I made a bunch of queens, like I don't know what I would do with them.
You'd have to probably just try to sell them. And I don't know. There's a lot of people that seem to want, onesies, twosies, and not that that's a bad thing. I remember when I first started, I had a colony that was lost a queen, and I panicked and went and bought a queen from a guy. I went clear over to Logan and purchased 1 queen, drove back and put it in. And he asked me while I was over there, he's like, why didn't you just let them raise their own? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, did they have eggs and larvae? And I was like, well, yeah. He's like, just let them raise their own queen. But if you're going to be requeening, your entire operation, I do have some queens that are actually 2 years old. I think I might pinch them and requeen them with some of these that I've grafted if they take. So.
Well, that's fun. Like when you talk to people that haven't done beekeeping before, when I first got into it, one of the most fun conversations was, and most interesting things for me, is the bees can create the type of bee they want. A bee can take a cell and turn it into a queen. A bee can take a cell and turn it into a drone. And it's so amazing that they can do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody here is subscribed to Bracken because he has so many subscribers. But if you're not, this journey of him grafting in his bee yard is pretty fun. He's got a few journeys going on, and go subscribe to him because it's fun to watch. Before we get to my week, I want to answer this question. Let me scroll up. So Gigi's honeybees asked this, Bracken. Why don't you take your first shot at it, and then I'll lean in too. What do you do if bees aren't making honey? I have a hive that just doesn't seem to be bringing any nectar. I've heard this from a couple of people recently. I would love to get your thoughts on this one, Bracken.
Well, I guess there's questions that lead to that. Why are they not? Well, I guess that's what you're asking. Why are they not bringing? But I mean, are they mite slow? Are they weak? Is there a lot of are you in an area where there is a nectar flow going right now? If all those things are, yes, they're good on mites. Yes, they have good bees. And yes, there's a nectar flow. I don't know. I don't know why.
So Gigi, where post for us, let's all as a kind of a community lean in and see if we can help Gigi here. Tell us where you're from. Like the nectar flow where I am is generally late May, June to early July, but the bees are bringing in a lot of nectar. Here's one thing that I've found. I'm an advocate for this. Like every beekeeper has a different opinion, but I found in the spring, I like to feed a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on, especially if you don't have drawn comb already. It takes more resources to make wax than it does for them to make the honey. Like they might be happening to Gigi.
Yeah, if you've got a lot of foundation and they're putting all the work into the wax, that's a very good possibility. Let's see, she just posted again. I have 2 hives and the other one is doing good. I'm in South Mississippi.
Okay, so that's interesting. She has one hive that's doing well and one isn't. Like, I don't know, if it were me, I would troubleshoot a little bit. I'd probably start feeding them more and see what happens. See if they are they drawing out comb? Do they have
Get a mite wash going, see what the mites are. If they're really stressed with mites and struggling with mites, that can hinder them pretty. I don't know if you have hive beetle in Mississippi. We don't deal with hive beetle here in Utah, but yeah, like Blade says there, we haven't really started a huge flow yet. We've had a trickle, but if your bees are sick or got a lot of mites or something, that could be why. If you say one colony is doing good and this other one is looking significantly different, there's troubleshoot like Jed said there. Do a wash, get in there, see if they're putting it to wax or building it to foundations, or if there's a lot less bees, maybe you could take a good brood frame from your other colony that's doing well and add a brood frame to them, give them a little bit more of a population. I don't know. There's a lot of factors. That's kind of tough to say without knowing, all the fine detail.
Well, let's go through this. Let's go through some of those steps, though, because I love this question from Gigi. So, personally, I'd probably start feeding them a little bit, see how they react. I'd look at the comb. Are they building it out a lot right now? Maybe that's a thing that's happening. Bracken is suggesting mites can wreak havoc on your hive. Like, who knows the behaviors that come from that? So go do a mite wash and probably treat for those if you have an issue. Is that what you're saying, Bracken?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully there's some things there, Gigi, that you can kind of start with.
And she said there that may be the issue. They do have to build comb. Yeah, so it takes. I'm not 100% on this, but it's like 8 pounds of nectar to make 1 pound of wax. So if they're cranking out a lot of wax to build the foundations, it takes them a minute. Once they get that wax in, then you might start seeing some nectar flow. So
Keith is spot on this one. My first year, even 2 years, as I expanded a little bit of beekeeping, when I had to draw out the comb, when we didn't have fully drawn comb, they spent so much resources on that. Every year after my second year, where I already have the fully drawn comb, I run into the season and we're cooking. We're cooking because all that nectar coming in goes to honey. So they don't have to build out a lot of wax. And so that's probably your thing here. And it's okay. Like, that's okay. If it's a new hive, you're likely not going to get honey. I think for me as a beekeeper, like, the honey is a nice thing to have. Like, it's cool and you want to get that. But if you push it too much, like, you can hurt the bees. You certainly don't want to take honey that they need, because as soon as spring hits, they're preparing for winter, at least in Utah, right? With our climate, you come into spring, they're preparing for winter immediately, and you can't. I don't know. I think you want those boxes at 60 to 80 pounds going into winter so that they can survive. So it's okay with those new hives, I guess, is what I'm saying. If you don't get,
you got them in April, she said. So they're not. Yeah, I don't know. They could be queenless. I don't know. There's a lot of factors. You got to get in there and look, see if you see eggs and larvae and they're doing, maybe they're just a slow start.
Huge props to Gigi, though, like, getting in there, learning. This is exactly what I did, Gigi. I watched hundreds of hours, like live streams, hundreds of hours of YouTube, and just learned as you go. And it's fun. And I think the first year beekeeper, you can get honey, certainly, but don't plan on it. Like, if the hive's new this year, don't plan on it. This is cool from Ray. Like, this is dropping knowledge right here. 6 pounds of honey to 1 pound of wax.
Yeah, something, whatever the ratio is. It's a lot to a lot, or a lot to a little.
Yeah.
6, 8, 7. I don't know what
I think exact. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if Gigi's saying the queen is good in laying, like, you're going to be in good shape. Like, watch for the mites. They're probably just building out the the comb.
Yep.
That's great, Gigi. Good for you. Thanks for asking the question. Keep the questions coming. Let me tell you,
Put 'em in all
anything else?
caps.
Oh, go ahead, Bracken. Sorry.
Put them in all caps if you put the questions. It is hard to cipher through those
Oh, yeah, that'd be helpful.
if they're
Bracken,
not in all caps.
anything else from your last week you want to hit on?
Nope. And this isn't beekeeping, but I'm hoping to move into my house this weekend, or at least get my certificate of occupancy. So
Let's go.
that's close. If that happens, oh yeah, if that happens, let's face it, I'll be moved in probably soon.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
Good for you. About time. Last week in my bee yard, the video I think is scheduled for a week and a half out or something like that. But I told y'all last week that I was going to practice. I'd never marked queens. Well, I had, but it kind of been a disaster. I think I drenched one in some paint once, but so I was a little bit intimidated about marking queens. So I went into my hives last week with the intention to find every queen and marker, but along the way I was gonna mark drones, and it was for me, it was hilarious. Like I now have more respect for drones than I had in the past. Those are sturdy buggers. You grab those drones and mark them up. One thing that I learned about drones just practicing marking them was they flap their wings a lot more. So I'd be marking them, and a lot of them would be just flapping their wings like crazy. There was paint going everywhere. So they were. It was actually a lot of fun. So I probably practiced on a dozen drones, find the queens, mark them, but they all did good. None of them fainted, Bracken.
Yeah.
And here was the step that I did, and you tell me if this is wrong. So I'm a right-hander, so I needed to have the marker with my right hand. So I'd grab the wings with my right, then I'd transition and grab the legs with my left, and then I'd dab the marker like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I'd hit the spot right behind their head and just mark it like that. Is that the 3-step process?
Yeah. Grab them. I try to grab them by the wings, but sometimes I'll just grab them by the actual, I try not to ever grab the butt. I try to grab their thorax and up top, and then I'll transfer it to whatever's comfortable, or I'll hold them if I have a good grip with them in my right. I can dab. Excuse me. I can do left-handed good enough that I can, at least mark it. I can't write a paragraph, but I can mark the queen. So
I love what DC put here. He practiced picking up the drones like I did. Then he did nurse bees, then workers. Like picking up nurse bees and workers is a little brave. Like I'm using those latex gloves. They're not afraid to sting you. I don't know if they did or not, DC. Some beekeepers I feel like are immune to pain. Not me though. Like I don't like getting stung.
My hands I've got to a point. My hands are so, I could almost pick up a hot iron pan and not feel it. My hands are so, the stings don't bother me on my fingers or my hands. It's on my ankles that hurts.
DC, if you do freehand marking this year, we need you to video that. Like I'm not a betting man, but if I were betting on that, those would be less than accurate marks.
What do you mean? What do you mean freehand?
I think if I'm understanding it right, like not grabbing it, like while they're moving, just dab them. Like that would be, because you know what I'm saying? Like they're going to be moving while you're trying to mark them.
Yeah. Or does he mean, I don't know. What do you mean there, DC?
Well, if it's what I'm thinking it is, we need to have that on video, DC. Like the world needs to see that.
Have you ever used the little queen tube things, the little yellow, you put the queen in there, you catch her, put the queen in there, and then you slowly push it up. Yeah, I did those for a little bit at the beginning until I forgot it once and I needed to mark a queen. I'm like, I can't do it now because I don't have my little part or my little tool. Like I'm just gonna grab it and do it. I always have my fingers. So
Do you know
those things, I actually liked those though. I mean, they helped me get to where I was finally like, handling the queen and stuff. So those little things aren't that bad. I do recommend them if you want to try them. It's got the little door you can open and close. If you push too hard and too fast, sometimes there it is right there. Ray. I've used them until I sliced a queen in half. I was using once and I was pushing it and it was sticky and it stuck and then it released. And I don't remember it killing her, but I think it hurt her. I don't remember exactly what happened to that colony after, but yeah, they can be finessey, but yeah, just grab them with your hands.
Yeah, I haven't done. I've seen people do it. You put them into there, you push them up, and you can mark them. I haven't done it that way, but that seems like that would work as well. Edward put this on there. He ordered the new speed mark from Laura Bees. Have you seen that, Bracken?
Is that the little thing with it looks like a toothpick that you hold them down?
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's got a little prode on it, and then it's got a rubber band across it, and then you use it to like pin the queen down. Yeah, he just said yeah. So is that the toothpick thing? Yeah, DC. Yeah, there you go. See, doesn't that look like a toothpick? Just use it.
Yeah, it's one of the like you would floss your teeth with.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit softer than the tooth. You'd probably cut a queen in half with the toothpick, to be honest. But
okay, that's cool. I did not know about that.
Blade says he picks up the queens, but he has a hard time transferring her to her other hand. Yeah, that's usually whatever one I grab them with. I just kind of keep them, and then I'll finesse I am right-handed, so yeah, left-handed's kind of hard, but I can work a pen enough to.
I really like this comment. Like the only reason I don't see a need to mark them, I just kind of wanted to do it because it's a skill I didn't have. So if you're like me, Keith, I don't know how many hives you have. You're like me. I've got 3 hives in the backyard. I never felt the need to mark mine. I do admit though, like sometimes I can't find my queen, so it probably is easier if they're marked, easier to identify them. But I appreciate what Keith is saying. Let the bees do their thing, and he doesn't mark his.
Yeah, again, it's one of those preference things, right? Like if you want all your queens marked, mark your queens.
Yeah.
Some people can find them and spot them pretty quick without having them marked. I might get a little. Has anybody ever tried? I have, and I did this, and I just did it. I took the marker and I put another dot like right where where the butt joins to the thorax, like right up in there. So it basically 2 dots. And I thought, I don't know what. She's still laying. She still seems fine. So.
And the purpose would be it's just easier to find her.
Yeah, just more paint. I mean, look at Bruce's Big Red, the Legend Big Red. That thing was covered in paint. And I had one that I did that with a green marker, and I had a green marker blow on one, and it covered a lot, and she was fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. For those that don't know, Bruce had this. You go look it up at Bruce's Bees and check out his video. But he had this queen and this could happen easily with those markers, where he just drenched it in red paint, and so the wings, everything were covered. If they needed to swarm and get rid of her, I don't know if she could fly, but she certainly could lay.
See, that could maybe be a good thing.
Sawmill Charlie, remember Stella? Stella's in the house.
Charlie knows Stella. Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay, so that's what's going on in the bee yard. Let's move on. One of the things that Bracken and I want to talk about are any comments that we get from our YouTube channel during the week that are interesting to provoke some conversation. And so I'm going to share my screen. I actually put out a poll on my YouTube channel, and let's talk about it because it's an interesting topic. And while we're doing this, love the engagement and the comments in the chat. But if people have questions like Gigi did, or comments, like let's pull them up and let's talk about them. So we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, I'm going to share my screen here. Welcome, Todd. Welcome, Mike. Okay.
We're at 25 people, man.
We're ripping.
We are ripping.
Dave Burns got nothing on us.
Yeah.
Dave Burns got nothing. I don't even know who he is.
David Burns. Yeah, he's gonna be like, man, that Jet and Bracken, all my subscribers are so low.
He's gonna want to join someday. Okay, so here was the question, and I actually had this question myself. And I'll, we can talk about what each of us do. And I think Bracken and I both subscribe to do whatever you think works. So we're not going to come in here and say you got to do it this way. Like that's not how we roll. Oh, that's a good comment. Utah B-Man. Dave, who? That's what I'm talking about, Glade. So,
he's got her back. There's Steve. We're gonna make somebody mad.
This is good. Is this recorded? Uh-oh. Okay, so here's the question. After splitting a hive, do you usually need to treat the new colony for mites? I've heard both. I've done both. And so we had 26 people vote. The exact number of participants that we have going on right now, 26 people here. 26 people vote. And are you surprised by this, Bracken? Like, is this a statistically relevant representation of the beekeeping community? 42% are always, 12%. So that's probably, what is that? 3 people call it. 12% never do. And then sometimes and rarely has a good chunk too. Like, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah. I don't know. I have a few thoughts. Obviously, it kind of plays into, how long have they, again, I like to think of all sorts of details and questions. Have they had bees before in the past? Like the people that clicked never, like what's their reasoning for never? Is it because, they don't know how, or they didn't know what to use, or you know what I mean? Like, are they answering for, I don't know how to say this, but yeah, like why is their answer never, and why is their answer rarely? Is it because they don't have the supplies, or they don't buy it? Is it expired and they just decided not to use it?
Well, I would think that somebody said this here, like if you've treated them, like if they start clean, they stay clean. Where was that? Yeah,
right.
That's BC. So if you've treated them before then, but this is usually in the spring, so I haven't fully treated at this point. I hadn't, like I've put some OA sponges on there, but that's a slow burn. That takes a lot of time. So I totally agree with what DC's saying.
I do treat just for the sake of comfort of making me feel better. I mean, if I'm making splits with, if I've done mite washes, that's the thing, is there's always mites, right? Like even when you roll a 0, there's still a mite. There's still mites. Like that's just how I run my operation. I don't ever assume that there is 0 mites. I might roll a 0 and that's good, but I'm still going to treat regardless if I have a 0 or not, because I think of it more of preventative maintenance. It's the bees make me more money in the long run than it does to cost me to do the mite strips or, the oxalic acid sponges. So if I'm making a split and I'm taking brood out of a big colony that's doing well, and I'm moving it to a split, and there's capped brood, there could be mites in that capped brood. You know what I mean? So when it hatches, you're spreading that, and who knows, maybe most of the mites were on that drone frame that you pulled and split that got moved over to the nuke. Because I've made splits before where there's some drone brood on the bottom, and they say mites like those drone, the drone brood. So I treat them just because when they do leave, they're not being treated anymore. That
Yeah.
makes sense, kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's where I'm at. I don't understand. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't understand it. I don't understand unless you're a treatment-free beekeeper, I don't understand the not treating them, because you're moving brood over there and bees that will likely have mites on them. So so if unless you're treatment free, it doesn't make sense to me. But I won't hit them with Formic Pro. That
Yeah,
first year, it's too strong. I don't want to kill the hive. So
right.
I'll do the slow burn oxalic acid, like OA sponges. That's for me on those new hives, because it's gentle, it's slow, it's easy. Uh,
Yeah.
and it sounds like you're on the same page, Bracken. But uh, this comment is interesting. Like, it's related but different. Joni Hefe, or Joni Jeffe, however you say that, he said, I don't do mite counts. I usually do mite treatments 3 or 4 times a year. If I treat in February and split in March, mite treatment can initially be harsh. Totally agree with that. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think you got to be careful with how aggressive you are with the mites in the spring.
Yeah.
Then I'm making the challenge of creating a surviving split even harder to do for potentially no reason. What do you think about that? Not doing mite counts, but he's still treating 3 to 4 times a year.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like if I roll a 0, I still treat. So just one sec.
Stella is the star of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to know, but people vaccinate their cattle without checking them. They just do it just to do it. So I don't know if that's how it works for him, and it's I don't know. If he's got successful colonies and it's working good, then I'd say, that's fine. I think it's better to not wash and treat all the time than it would be to do the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, treat or wash all the time and then not treat. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Well, it's similar for me. Like, this is kind of what I do. I did mite washes, like, so check for mites. For those that don't know, Bracken, will you explain what a mite wash is?
Yeah, you get in your colony and you try to go after the nurse bees, and you scoop them up. You put them in either Dawn dish soap or an alcohol wash or a sugar roll. There's different methods. I personally use the Dawn dish soap, and you put the bees in there, about a cup of them, and then you shake them and the mites fall to the bottom, and then you take an average of that, and it gives you the I'm not good at it's what 3%, or you do 100. What is it? There's 300 in a scoop.
I got to
And you
look
want
it
to
up every
say,
time.
yeah, I can't remember. I know you use 1 cup, and that's about 300 bees, and you want less than 3 bees or 3 mites. That gives you your percentage.
So I appreciate what Dennis is saying. I don't do mite counts, but I do fog my bees with mineral oil 3 times a year. I'm not familiar with that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Love
I
to
don't
hear more
I've
about
never
that.
heard of it.
And I think what Glade is saying here is, I think you run the risk of having ineffective treatment and not knowing. So I think what Glade is saying is definitely get your mite counts washed so you know how to treat, how aggressive it is.
Yeah, and he's half cup. That's right, Glade. Not
Yeah.
I was thinking a full cup, but yeah, it is a half cup measuring cup. That's what I.
It's been a bit of an evolution for me, and it will probably continue to be. Right now, so when I first started beekeeping for the first few years, I did the mite washes and would check it out and then treat accordingly. But what I found was I was always treating. I found that I was always treating. And so if I'm always treating, then why do I need to do mite washes? And so what I do now, I can be convinced otherwise. Like, so some of you will feel like this is blasphemy, but what I do now is I come out of spring and I put the OA on them immediately. I'm kind of an always OA guy.
Yeah, I use them.
Oxalic acid sponges, they're always going. They last a long time. They're easy to do. And then once they get going a little bit, I will hit them with Formic Pro. I've done Apivar as well, but right now I'm using Formic Pro. If it's not a super strong hive, I will use the one strip at a time rather than the two.
Yeah.
If it's a strong hive, I'll use the two. When I get out of spring, I'll get rid of those OA sponges, go for a few weeks, and then I'll add OA sponges again, because why not?
Yep.
And then after I remove the supers, in late fall, I'll hit them again with Formic Pro, and then I'll add OA sponges through the winter. That's how I roll. I'll probably have a terrible experience doing that at one time and have those zombie bees running around, and change my mind. But that's kind of what I do now.
Yeah.
What do you do, Bracken? What's you're always doing washing, it sounds like.
I wash about once a month, maybe. Sometimes I'm a little bit more behind. But yeah, I love the sponges. I put Apivar strips in, and then I use a lot of oxalic acid vapor. I use those vaporizers, and I hit them quite often. I'll do it for 3-4 weeks in a row or more, and hit them once a week. But yeah, that's a good, like Keith says, I don't wash. I use the screen bottoms with the slide out boards and count drops after OAV treatments. That washes the entire hive. Yeah, I really like oxalic acid vapor. I like that, and I like the sponges.
What do you use? What mechanism do you use to do the vapor, Bracken?
I have 2 of the instant vaps.
Like those guns? Those gun looking things?
Yeah. I got the first version, and I have the new version. What are they called? Man, I'm struggling tonight. I'm having brain farts.
I'm asking you really hard questions, Bracken.
Half cup, full cup. Man, don't listen to anything I say today. The instant vape that you put the Milwaukee batteries in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen you use that. Yeah.
That's what I use. I have 2 of those. I have the newer one, and I have the older version.
And you need to treat them. If you use the vapor, you're essentially hitting them with OAV once a week.
It won't penetrate through the brood. So if there's capped brood, that vapor won't penetrate through that. So if you do it every hatch cycle, after those hatch, then it kills them. And it also, if it gets on the box or if it's on the frames and the bees walk across it and they get it on their little feet and, they're touching the mites, that helps the mites drop off too. So it's not just like Keith said, it covers the whole thing. It washes the entire box, if you get enough in there.
I got to find out more about what Dennis is talking about with the mineral oil. So he's saying all the drill brood that breaks apart when breaking the boxes apart, I haven't seen a mite since I started with the fogging. So with fogging, is he saying the OAV?
I don't know. I wonder if he means the vapor. Oh. Dennis, what do you mean there?
Good discussion. That's where I'm at right now. I haven't done mite counts. I definitely treat. I think that's important. I'm definitely treating, but haven't seen it necessary to test for mite counts right now. Since who was it? Was it Randy Oliver that started the oxalic acid sponges?
Yeah.
Since the OA sponges came out, that's been my.
Yeah, I love those. And if you don't use those, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to run operations, but yeah, I suggest those. They're cheap. You can buy those Swedish sponges off of Amazon. You can buy the glycerin. I don't know. Again, I'm struggling. You can buy all that stuff, and you can make it fairly simple, and it's pretty easy. Oh, we got reindeer on here. Reindeer beers.
Reindeer bees. I'm not familiar with reindeer. I'll have to.
Oh, you know, he's up there in old Maine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I lived in Maine for a little while, so I did an interview with him too once. He's pretty good stuff. He's been working with a commercial guy, I think, for a while. He's posted. Let's see, where do I see your stuff mostly? Reindeer, is it Facebook, I think, or I don't know, but he posts. He just retired a bee suit. Quick tangent, but we'll talk about him for a minute. He had this bee suit that he had for, I think he said, I don't know, it was 3 or 6 months, something like that. But that thing was hashed. Like it looked like it had been drugged behind a pile of horses for a while. So it was pretty funny.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think he gets long winters. He'd be a fun. I think his climate's, he's a lot more humid than we are here. But when I lived in Maine, you know, they get those long cold winters like we do, probably colder and wetter. But you know, he'd be a good one to talk to one day, maybe, and see how he tackles winters a little bit more. I can't remember our discussion if we talked about winters that much or not, but
yeah, I would think in Maine, even any of the northern states, they're probably just been getting into their hives the last few weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I remember the couple winters I was there. Winters can last a long time up there in Maine. Again, it depends on, you know, where you're at. I was up by the Canadian border, so it was. But anyways,
well, as we time flies here. We're 46 minutes in. As we get into this, thanks for everybody's engagement. Keep throwing in chatter in the chat there, and questions and comments, and we'll talk about it. But just as a reminder here, I think Bracken and I, maybe we talk about what's coming up this next week, and then let's do this giveaway. Put in #gloves if you haven't already. #gloves.
Yeah, hurry and do it again. Let's see if we can get a list real close, because scrolling clear back is going to be.
Oh yeah, #gloves. Put it in there. Yeah, I got a few of them, but let's get more #gloves, and you got to be present to play though. Like so those that have hung on with us, we got 22 people. We got as high as 29. Yeah. But 22 people here. Those that you have a higher chance. Okay, so #gloves. That's
so if you start doing some of those, I'll kind of talk about what I'm this week coming up. I got to get my cells. My cells are capped. They should be capped by now. I got to get into them. The queen cells that I raised, I got to get into those. I've got to get my mating nukes out, get them ready. That's kind of my plan if I'm not moving into my house. But I got to make time for both, because bees don't wait. Agriculture don't wait. Our farm, we caught up on most of our irrigation. This little bit of rain we got here the last 72 hours, we got almost a half an inch according to my rain gauge thing. But I know some people that's not that much rain, but man, half an inch in 72 hours, it's downpouring.
Yeah, we'll take that. That's good in Utah. We love that. And if the mountains are getting dumped on, that's even better. And Bracken, you live right up against the mountains, it looks like.
Yeah, right now I'm sitting on the mountain, actually, the bench, but then the farm is, 2-3 miles away from the bench of the mountain. But.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and help me make sure I got all these folks. And then Let's Be Frank has a question for me before we. Oh, Michelle jumped in there.
We got Charlie. We got the Smith Chronicles. Charlie again. Come on, Charlie really wants those gloves.
Charlie deserves them, man.
Yeah,
I watched his live stream and he was eating potato chips.
Yeah.
While he was doing it. That was awesome.
He's the legend. Charlie's the legend.
He is a legend. I gotta do that though. I gotta up my game and eat some potato chips during the live stream. Salt and vinegar, some salt and vinegar potato chips. Maybe a good Dr. Pepper or something.
You eat the chips, I'll get the kid. Stella will run around. It'll just be a chaotic show. He's also saying live dangerously. Drop the link. One of these nights we ought to do that. We'll we'll have an open mic drop.
Oh, dangerous. Okay, we got to get Jack on here.
Okay,
Jack,
if you don't see your name on that wheel turning or on his list there,
Grayson, Nate, Charlie, Reindeer, Collector Rick, Keith, Smiley Ray, Mike, Let's Be Frank, Michelle, and Jack.
It's going to be hard when we're stealing all of David Burns' people and we have to read thousands of names.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a different thing. I'll remove this for a second. I'm gonna take this off of here just for a second, and let's chat. So, Let's Be Frank. So, what is your ultimate bee goal? I want to hear yours, Bracken. I'll say mine, and then we'll.
Mine is to keep bees alive. Like, that sounds silly, but like, I'm not. Oh, Glade. Yeah, you got to get Glade's name on the list. Sorry, okay. Glade.
Yeah, Glade.
It might sound silly, but I do like getting the honey. I do like getting the money from the pollination. I do like, that's all nice stuff. But my goal and what I enjoy most about beekeeping is keeping bees alive, being a caretaker of something that is so magical and phenomenal. I just want to have thriving hives. I want to have quality hives over quantity. I talk about numbers and I'm growing in operation, but really, if I had 12 super healthy hives that I was thriving, you know what I mean? That's my goal, is to be successful as far as keeping them. And if I can do that, I'm a firm believer, that the honey and the pollination and that other stuff, the wax, the other fun stuff will come, right? Like, it's not going to come if you have bad bees. But my goal, my ultimate beekeeping goal, it's not a number, it's not eczema, it's not to make a living, it's to stay sober, for one, because I'm a recovering alcoholic and that helps me, and two, to keep the bees alive. That's it. Healthy, happy bees.
Healthy, happy bees equals sober Bracken, which we all want.
Like, yeah, you don't want. Yeah,
that's what
alcoholic Bracken isn't very nice sometimes. It wouldn't be good on a chat. Might be entertaining, but
well, so my goal, I appreciate that, Bracken. I think that's noble. My goal is to have fun. This is my hobby. And I've got a lot of other hobbies, but this is the one that I've chosen to lean into. So I look forward to Saturdays. I look forward to, and with 3 hives, for any of you backyard beekeepers, or even if you're a sideliner, but even a backyard beekeeper especially, I can take, bees can get cranky, so you got to watch that. But I can take as much time as I want. I just take it easy. I look at the frames. I enjoy it. I can troubleshoot what's going on and figure it out. If I had more property, and maybe at some point, maybe I'll expand. But it's important to me that I don't get to the point ever where beekeeping becomes work. Like maybe at some point, like, everybody's got to work, but so maybe at some point I would want to make it my work, but not today. And so it's just to have a good time. So with 3 hives, how much honey do I get? Last year was my best year, and I don't measure it in terms of pounds, so maybe I should do that this year. But last year, only 2 of my 3 hives produced, and I might have the same kind of outcome this year. But I got 30 gallons of honey from the 2 hives. And I look forward to the extraction. Like, the extraction is fun. I get together with my pops, and it's work. And we go out in the desert in Utah. It always happens during antelope season. I buy an antelope tag. We go hunting. We hit the antelope in the morning, get the bees, and during the day kind of set it up, because it takes a while for stuff to drain and all that. We go on Labor Day, try to do Labor Day weekend. This year, maybe a little bit later than that, but that's kind of how we roll, and that's a lot of fun, and I look forward to it every year.
Sweet.
Probably a little long-winded there. 12 pounds per gallon. So somebody do the math on that. So I got 30 gallons times 12. What is that?
On 360.
Is that good? 2 hive?
Yeah. Off of 2 colonies?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 180 pounds a colony. That's not bad.
Okay. Well, I'll take it. Felt heavy, man.
Yeah. I got my one year I got 1,800 pounds, I think. And then the next year I got like 800 pounds. And I actually had more bees the second time, but I had cut them pretty thin. Like I split them pretty hard and I knocked them down pretty small. So I didn't get, but yeah, that's better results than mine. But again, that kind of goes to that, where's that quality versus quantity type thing. Quick tangent, we got a few minutes before we're ending here, but it was Duck Rivers Honey. He did an interview with a guy from the big thing that they do that with Cayman Reynolds. Man, I'm struggling. The beekeeping conference. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobby, that's what they call it. Anyways, he was doing an interview with a guy and he was talking about how he had a bunch of beekeepers was like, oh, hey, I got 50 colonies, I got 60 colonies, 70, how many do you have type question. And he says the dude was kind of doing it in kind of a, not a comparison way, but he was saying like, if I can have 12 colonies and I can do better and harvest more honey than somebody that has 50 colonies that isn't taking, what I mean, that isn't putting the time and the effort into them.
Yeah, fully optimized colonies.
Yes, I can get more honey off of 12 colonies than I can with somebody who is, part of my language, half-assing something or doing it not as fully to the extent, and they're not getting, so maybe like if you're getting 180 pounds a colony, that's crazy. That's wicked good. Yeah, I'm sure not rolling that much, but I'm also stretching, thin compared to 3.
Yeah, like they get all my TLC, and this is like that's the thing. Like, is they get all my TLC, and I spend a lot of time with them, and it's not always that way. And I compete with myself a little bit. Like I have to admit, like I'm like I want to do more. I want to produce more. I want to get a year. It's not going to be this year. I want to get a year where I get all hives operating at full strength. Not this year, but maybe next year. But it's fun to be a little competitive with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna do the old.
Yeah. Let me put this up here. Okay. So we added Glade, added Eugene.
Last chance. Hurry and comment.
Yeah.
If you've already put your thing, don't put it. But if you haven't, put it.
Yeah. So we got the
reindeer on there.
Yeah, we got the beekeeping gloves right here. And whoever wins, stay on. And actually, let me give you my email address. I'll put it in chat right now. Stay on and Ed's Beekeep. What's my email address?
Edward. Do we have Edward on there?
Okay, yeah, let's get Edward. I don't think we do. So whoever wins, send me an email with your address and I'll get it out to you.
Tiny Creek Beekeeper.
Oh, Tiny Creek. Yeah, let's get Tiny Creek. Okay, good catch.
Last minutes we'll give them another 10 seconds to get the last.
Okay, we good? We got everybody?
Yeah, I think we're probably pretty close.
Okay, game time. This is for the gloves. And when you send me your address, I can't promise what I'll have, but I got small gloves. I got large gloves. I think I got medium. I'll send you as close as what I got. I got what I got.
You got Gigi on there?
Oh, Gigi deserves them. She put in some. Really good comment. All right, I'm. Who do you think's gonna win? Put your money down, Bracken. I'm gonna go.
I don't know. I'm thinking Jack and Danette. Danette.
Okay, here we go.
Not Glade.
Okay, here we go.
No China size.
Oh!
No.
Grayson won last week. I don't think he's here. Grayson, are you here? Everybody's like, please, Grayson, don't be here.
He needs to go to Vegas.
I don't think Grayson is here.
Oh,
Okay.
I think
We're gonna,
Grayson left us.
does everybody vote? Hashtag remove Grayson. Okay.
If he does email you, we'll have to figure something out.
Okay,
Roll her again.
We're gonna roll her again. This is
Sorry,
the
Grayson.
advantage of joining our live stream before we take over Dave Burns. Like, you can win multiple times.
Yeah, there you go.
Forfeit. Yeah, if you're not here. Present to play. Here we go. Okay. Gigi was almost there. You were this close, Gigi. Okay, here we go.
Now they're getting out. Yeah, there's the fix. There's the comments
there it
coming
is.
from DC. Fix.
Oh, Jack, you called it. You called it, Jack and Danae. Okay.
Here. Now they're really gonna think it's rigged.
I'm sorry, Grayson. Those were the rules. You had to be present to play, and I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
You made the rules.
Yeah. Somebody made the rules. Okay, so Jack and Danae, stay on here, and or don't stay on here. Just, you got my email address, jedsbeekeeping@gmail. Shoot me your address, and we'll get them to you. Congratulations.
DC.
It's hilarious.
I
know it is. Oh yeah. Now you're gonna think it's rigged. Listen, everybody saw it. Hey, listen. Thank you so much for joining. If you're not subscribed, join the powerhouse of subscribers of the community of Bracken, Barker's Bees, and Honey. Jed's Beekeeping. Come subscribe. We appreciate it. It's fun to be part of the community. We love it. We love you. Thanks for being engaged. I think our plan is to keep going, Bracken, right? Every week?
Yeah, let's go till we don't. Go tell your Greg Bird's friends that's watching that one to come jump on this channel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hit that like button. Thanks, Tiny Creek. We
hashtag take over. No, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. Okay. Love you. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.